Okay, so I failed to find some really high level IG. And I gotta be honest, I don't know how high level this is gonna be either. Vagrant is actually a really good player. I found him on retail like, I don't know, was it 2 months ago at this point? Maybe 6 weeks ago, something like that. And I was shocked because my man was playing so well. I was like, wow, this guy actually knows how to play. I'm not used to that in retail. Most of the players, they just obviously know how to abuse the overpowered shit because retail's really imbalanced. They just air move around. But no, Vagrant was making legitimately good players, so... Yeah, anyway, I told him, what the hell are you doing on retail? You're not going to get much competition here. Don't you find this a bit dull? And he joined the Elite Mod, and he's been loving it. He's been playing a lot, he's been sinking his teeth into the meta. But, I mean, he's unfamiliar with the Elite Mod meta, and I don't think he's, like, as good as the top tier Elite Mod guys, but he's better than most people I've encountered in retail, so... It's kind of similar with Mostafa. It's interesting, Mostafa has a very, he's very capricious. Sometimes he's as good as Dark Riku, if not better. Other days he just is miserable compared to Dark Riku. But we'll see where we've, you know, that could actually end up with a pretty good replay here. It's a tough matchup for the Eldar, I'd say, Tech Marine. He's a pain, the rate at which he can bleed things, but when Mostafa's microing like that, then that's pretty good. I mean, he does the ... Oh, I thought he was doing that complaining about the instant special, which is very lucky, that knocked over literally all the models. However, obviously he should have retreated before they even got that close, which is what he's actually complaining about. I don't know, maybe he retreated the wrong squad. I wasn't really paying attention. It's quite tricky when you're running triple scouts. That is something that's becoming more popular in the meta though, just because you really negate the Banshees, and the thing is, when you get shotguns, you can actually 1v1 Guardians as well, which would traditionally be the proper counter to the scout spam. Now, listen, if I seen a scout spam, guys, I'm going for an extra Guardian, and I'm going to blob those Guardians. The problem would be the Tech Marine. The Tech Marine in green cover, it doesn't matter whether he encounters 1 Guardian or 2 Guardians, he's going to do very well. Interesting that he dedicates so many resources here to getting the Pathfinder gear against the scouts. I don't like this. Now you see, if this was retail, the Rangers would shoot very slowly, so the DPS would be lower, but every shot they would kill a scout. So this would be like super duper hard counter for the scouts. But in the Elite Mod, that's not the case, unfortunately, for the Eldar. They do this little... They do higher DPS, but it's consistent and it's spread over models. And against rapidly moving scouts, that's not very effective at all. Especially because the scouts get additional HP regen when they're out of combat. So if you don't actually kill them, it's not going very well. Now, pew-pewing at someone sitting in green cover is a good use of the Rangers. The problem, of course, is, and the whole reason why this build is so effective, is that you follow up the triple scouts with the ASM. As you can see, the scouts do very well against the Howling Banshees, and they generally deter the melee. Help deal with the enemy hero, and then of course your ASM are free to just run all over them. But yeah, Mostafa's going to need to start getting some sergeants. You can see there is a decent amount of pressure applied there by the Rangers. The sergeant will mitigate a lot of that. See how fast they fire here. The duration in between shots is a lot lower than retail or even prior Elite iterations when he only had 1 long rifle in a squad. But I'd still be going for double Guardians. I think it's more reliable. And then you've just got to try and make sure that your Warlock is wherever the Tech Marine is. Leap into him, knock him out of these tank traps, which are green cover, and then you can focus fire him. But as far as the Guardians are concerned, if they're going around 2 Guardians together, they can dominate scouts. As long as they're not literally stood on one another, so that they can start chaining their shotgun blast, because 1 shotgun blast knocks over 2 Guardians. That would be stupid. And then when they get the Sarge, they'll beat default Guardians, but then when you get the battle equipment, you should be fine. Not so if they've got infiltration, but at that point they're paying way more for that scout squad than you are for a battle equipment guardian. Now you need the Banshees, regrettably, even though they're not very good against scouts, because otherwise the ASM are just gonna run all over you. You could try, actually, you could try a non-Banshee build. That you need the Banshees though if you're fighting tactical marines as well. That's the problem. I'm just wondering, like, if you're the Farseer or the Warlock, could you get away with a non-Banshee build by going for melee upgrades on them instead? Possibly. I remember a time when I would go triple Guardians with the Farseer and I'd get the Mind War Ghost Helm accessory. You suppress them and then you hit them with a Plasma Grenade from your Guardians. Because they're suppressed, they can't dodge it. But you have to bait out the jumps from the ASM first, or they'll just jump out of it. So that's a trick you can use. Of course, you can make your Warlock a tanky melee hero and a very fearsome one for counter initiation, especially against something like the ASM with the double jumps, by going for the Merciless Witchblade, which has the tracking specials, it has high damage per hit, but also it drains energy, so you can stop them doing the second jump. Vagrant here, I don't know if he finds the range as effective, or if he's just limit testing right now, but okay, I think he's actually on Overwatch. Fuck's sake. Triple ranges is a little bit excessive. He does not need to be having that. He could have actually had a really nice tier 2 tech time in here. See, one of the disadvantages here with this build is you don't have that tac flamer. Now, fully upgraded scouts with their shotguns at close range do bash pretty damn fast, but not as fast as a tac flamer. Generally, you're going to need like 2 scouts together. That tac flamer is really nice because you can have an effective composition without it fighting on one half of the map, and then you send the tac flamer down the other half, while the enemy's got all their army trying to deal with your main force, and it just gets this super fast bash. You see, like right now, if there was a tac flamer, he could be doing the bashing, but they don't bother because he's got to cap the map and he knows it's going to take so long with ASM and scouts. So that is definitely a disadvantage of the build. Now, typically with these triple scouts into ASM, we can expect a drop pod tac in tier 2. You see there, isn't that so unimpressive? They don't get a model 9 ranger shots into the scouts. But then, like I said, the problem is that they start healing up faster when they're out of combat. So, because you're not claiming models, it's really, really, well, a lot of the impact is negated. I think they retreated a little bit early there. Probably should not have hit retreat until they've seen the ASM jumping, or it's just unnecessary. I'm not sure really what the plan is here with the Banshees. They're now setting themselves up in a terrible position because you've got scouts with full energy and retreat path for grenades. Oh, but Mostafa just allows it. He missed microed. He was moving this scout, I think. And he walked over to the side. He goes for it anyway. Fucking hell. Oh my god, he kills him. Okay, look, Vagrant, you should have seen that. This is, people always complain about retreat grenades, right? Guys, how early did I call that potential play? This is part of the macro play of Dawn of War 2. It's kind of like walking units forward such that the enemy have got their most powerful melee units in your retreat path. You wouldn't do it. You wouldn't complain, oh, fucking melee units, they're so strong. That was a beautiful, beautiful kinetic pulse into grenade combo there. That's how we do it, Eldar. Yeah. Beautiful combo. Doesn't matter if you hit retreat, you're going to die at that point. The ASM were too low. But that was a beautiful play there by Vagrant, but he, you know, oh man, he'd be so far ahead right now were it not for that sloppy mistake he made with the Banshees. Why did he walk them over there when he knew ASM were around? He should have just retreated. There wouldn't have been time for them to bash. You had fucking triple rangers coming out. That would have got rid of the scouts very quickly. They wouldn't have had time to bash. So, yeah, I don't know. Kudos on the ASM wipe. That was beautifully executed, and that keeps him in the game. And it's quite funny, actually, losing the Banshees isn't that big of a deal now because they were mainly there to counter-initiate the ASM. And now the ASM are wiped anyway, so the Banshees aren't really that important. Should be getting the Exarch on the Guardians. Decent amount of extra range damage, but most importantly, it gives them passive range damage resistance, which against Tech Marine and lots of scouts, kind of invaluable, to be honest. We don't see any kit yet on the Warlock. It's probably not urgent. Obviously, Mostafa here is doing something extremely weird. He's going straight for tier 3. I mean, he obviously feels very, very not pressured. The gem bashing potential here out of Vagrant is not very good with 3 Ranger squads here. You know, it's not going to have a good time against the gens, that's for sure. It will have a good time dealing with this guy, though. Yeah, so we've got the Predator coming out straight away. Now, one of the advantages of Eldar and their Wraith Lords is the fact that they can get that mounted AV weapon on the Wraith Lord. So in a straight-up 1v1, the Wraith Lord can hold its own against a Predator. Not a twin-linked las cannon Predator, mind you, but an ordinary autocannon Predator it can do okay against. Now, we probably will see the twin-linked las cannon Predator, because let's face it, Vagrant doesn't really have any other threats on the field right now other than the Wraith Lord. I mean, the Rangers are Rangers, they're doing okay, they're not doing amazing. Look at that though, they do take half the HP off the Tech Marine. No armor on the Tech Marine. You might be tempted to keep this as a default one actually, just to try and deal with the Rangers. I don't really think it's necessary. If you get close enough to them that you can shoot them with both of your bolters, you'll kill them fast enough. And then if you get lucky, the las cannon might get a kill or two as well. But the good thing with his Rangers being so far forward here is this obviously give him, Vagrant, a lot of time to spot the Predator, so notice he has pulled the Wraith Lord back tremendously. This is what I mean by good play. Unfortunately, this kind of macro awareness I find very inconsistent in so-called high-level players these days. Not that that itself was a good play, it's obvious. That's just playing the game, but to do that consistently and regularly is something that I see from Vagrant quite a lot, and that's important. Now, Mostafa is going for an ASM in tier 3. Now, he probably, I assume, wants to swap this out into Vanguard, which would be pretty cool. I mean, the thing is, the Vanguard are just in all ways, as far as combat itself is concerned, in the matter of hacking and slashing things, Vanguard are superior to ASM. I suppose the only advantage ASM would have is if ASM are really high level, by the time you get tier 3, your ASM may have more HP than the Vanguard. But level 1 Vanguard are like on par with level 3 ASM for HP anyway. And then obviously if you ever get your Vanguard to level 3 or 4, they're way better. And then in terms of damage, Vanguard are just unbelievably better. I mean, I don't know the number off the top of my head, it must be at least 40% more damage, and it's power melee instead of normal melee, so. Vanguard are superior in terms of the hack and slash, but the primary disadvantage of Vanguard, and the reason why he may not go for it here, beautiful retreat grenade! Feels bad that Vagrant's only gone for one Guardian when his grenade plays are this good. Perfectly timed there. The one advantage that ASM have is the access to the Melter Bomb, which in combination with Predator Tank could be very useful to hunt down that Wraith Lord. Now Vagrant's actually kind of taking it easy as well. He has gone for tier 3 himself. He's now getting the Bright Lance. The Vanguard jump in there to ensure that the Tech Marine doesn't die to the Ranger shots as they finish the cap, and this puts a bit of pressure onto Vagrant. It is a triple cap against him. He does have his Warlock running over here. Warlock is still naked. Oh, just denied the cap right in time there with the shotgun blast. I wonder if that was a bait to get him to stay in as long as possible to lower his HP. It's possible, and if so, a good idea. Fortunately, Mostafa's grenade's not quite as good as Vagrant's. Bloody SM players there. Mostafa's a Farseer min anyway. The Ranger's putting in some work here though. Handling the Vanguard whilst it's dealing with other things, and he's not noticed the holofield. Ooh. beautifully executed holofield. Gets the Wraith Lord into melee range without being shot by the tank, and now the Wraith Lord is able to start hitting it with its shoulder-mounted Bright Lance. And there is a Fire Prism coming up the rear. Push! Go, go, go! Bit slow here on the execution with the Fire Prism. Also, the holofield probably wanted to be delayed slightly. Or even if the holofield was used at the time that it was, the Wraith Lord probably didn't want to open up on the Predator until the Fire Prism was in range. Potentially a missed opportunity here to wipe it. Mostafa hadn't seen the Fire Prism prior to now. Now, of course, he has, but even with all these repairs, there's going to be a lot of damage coming out from the Fire Prism. This is awkward, though, with a line of sight blocker. He's got Blessings of the Omnissiah down, so even when he's moving, he's getting a bit of repairs right now. But this should be the end of the Predator. Prism's loading up a shot, and somehow, don't ask me how, because I don't know, he manages to get a rear armor hit there and kill the Predator, but he would have died anyway from the shoulder-mounted Bright Lance. Nice swap to the disperse shot there, going to control the rest of the supporting infantry. And as I said before, the primary disadvantage of the Vanguard is they lack the Melter Bomb, so there is no snare on the field right now for this Wraith Lord. He manages to sneak away in the hollow field of the Rangers. AoE infiltration to ally or enemy in the area. Mostafa lost a scout somewhere. When did he lose him? Man, I always miss these losses. What the fuck? A lot of the other times, I'm too busy like thinking about what I'm saying in terms of the cast, and so I'll literally watch and talk about losing a unit in front of us all, and then 5 minutes later I forgot that I did that. Okay, the second Predator's out now. Remember the interaction with the Predator and the Prism. If the Predator just bomb rushes an isolated Prism, it will easily win the 1v1, because the Predator has very similar DPS. Well, actually more DPS, more speed and less, and more HP. Hello? Okay. That was weird. Yeah, the Rangers just froze for a bit there and bugged out. I don't know what the cause of that was. It's rather strange. Second Prism coming out for Vagrant. Oh, there's no way he loses this, surely. I've seen the way he be using them Fire Prisms. There's no way. See, the beautiful thing about his triple ranger build, if nothing else, is the fact that it is very pop efficient. Looks like he's got a shitload of units, but if we look at his pop, yeah, 91 right now, but this is with the second Prism, so he could even get another ranger. Which is quite funny to think about. Gonna be a second Predator for Mostafa. Ooh, this is cool. This is cool. The Predator versus Prism battle. Now, if it wasn't for the fact that there were 3 Ranger squads going around, I'd say the Predators have a good chance here, but the Wraith Lord and the triple Rangers, this could be really hard for a Fire Prism. Really hard for a Predator to take out these Fire Prisms. Oh, these Rangers are getting spicy now. They're still level 1. I guess the Tech Marine's not doing anything, is he? He's not leveling up at all. No armor. So the Predators need to be really meticulous with their strikes here. The good thing for Mostafa is that he's got an absolutely tremendous amount of repair support. Vagrant's messing up. His Prism is shooting at things that aren't the Predators right now. They were shooting at the Scouts. And now they're wanting to shoot at the Vanguard. Oh, he's lost. He should have been backing them away. Oh, no, he's done. There you go, Predators won. No. Oh, no. I thought you had it, Vagrant. I thought you had it. Oh, dear. Ah, they're fine, man. They're tank hunters. They're not mainline battle tanks. They should have been driving back way too far. He misfired against infantry about 3 shots too early. I think I counted 3 misfires and then another misfire once the tank started trading with the Prisms. If 4 of those shots had earlier gone onto this Laspred, it would have died way sooner, and that was the primary source of AV. I think it would have been lucky for this secondary predator to even kill one prism, and it certainly want to kill both of them. No use of things like hollow fields. Oh well, there you go. There you go. He technically didn't have any pop. I don't think the second prism was bad. It was just poorly used as usual. The other thing to say is with the prisms, if you're encountering prisms versus an enemy tank, what you want to do, and you learn this from playing Company of Heroes, I learned this from my recent escapade over in Company of Heroes 3, you want to protect it with an anti-vehicle infantry squad. So you got your two prisms here, and you got your Wraithlord here, guiding rangers here. Over here, you want a Bright Lance arced like this. So then you retreat sort of parallel. So in fact, even better, in fact, just, well, it doesn't really matter. You know, yeah, you have it like this. You have it arced across, and you retreat down. And then, so if the Predator wants to pursue, it's walking through the arc of fire. So then, if it wants to get around the back of the Bright Lance, the Predator goes like this. So what you do with your prisms, you pull them here, and then if the Predators pursue, you pull them across like that. So then they have to chase to this side to shoot the prisms, in which case they're getting shot in the ass by the Bright Lance, or they drive behind the Bright Lance to kill it, but as they drive around, they show their rear armor, the prism smashes them. And because of the prism range, even if they're stood here or here, the prism just keeps pounding them. There's no way to lose that engagement then. Now obviously the counterplay is the scouts run straight down and grenade the Bright Lance, but well, that's why you have a Wraithlord up front and 9 fucking rangers to shoot them, right, and to disrupt them with kinetic pulse. It does become a bit micro intensive. You've got to keep cycling between the different ranger squads, 4, 5, 6, whatever, kinetic pulse the scouts, and then keep making sure you're moving your prism. And then the other thing is, when the prisms move, if they're not on ceasefire, they're going to shoot at the nearest target, which is likely the Vanguard, not the Predator. So you want to be ideally microing that too, or make sure the prisms shoot first and then move them, or use the ceasefire command. Anyway, I'm just saying, I think the prisms could have done it. I think prisms are overpriced. I don't understand why they cost more than a Predator. That is likely going to be a change in the next patch. So they're not 135 power, they're 125 power like your mainline battle tanks. But it is a difference in role. The prism is not a tank. The prism is a tank destroyer, not a mainline battle tank. Anyway, folks, you wanted some Eldar. There you go. That's a little bit of Eldar gameplay. And come on, if nothing else, we got to see a beautifully executed kinetic pulse into a plasma grenade. I hope you did enjoy, and I much appreciate the continued support from yourselves. Torpid, signing out.